Okay, Bulldogs list analysis. Now, I sit here frustrated, bemused, sometimes incensed.
Imagine how the Dogs fans are feeling.
No, not just at the Dogs. But this is so similar to Carlton last year, where they were going shit house and then suddenly it's like, yeah, but is our team that good? Yes, it is. You idiots.
So you think the Bulldogs will make the prelim?
No, I'm not saying that. Just wait. Wait. I went through with a fine tooth comb today and had a look at what they've done the last few years and their list. These are the players who I think are good. And you tell me if I'm lying. Bontempelli's a 5-time All-Australian and has twice finished runner-up in the Brownlow.
Good.
Thank you. Tim English is the reigning All-Australian ruckman.
7th in the BNF last year.
Caleb Daniel and Bailey Dale are interesting because they're both All-Australians that have both found themselves in the VFL, which is preposterous. I think it's the second time I've used that word this pod. Jason Johannesson's a Norm Smith medalist who's been played out of position. Tom Liberatore, who it's very sad news that he's out indefinitely with concussion, by the way. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, has never been All-Australian, but has been nominated twice.
Stiff.
He's probably the best player currently playing who's never been All-Australian. Oh, I know, I've just opened up the Pandora's box accidentally. Tradies fans, be kind when I said that off the cuff. There may be a better one.
Well, body of work. Yeah.
I can't think of a better one. Anyway,
Human Cluggage is pretty good.
That's a very good. I think Liberatore is better, but very good second. Jack McRae is a 3-time All-Australian. Aaron Norton has never been All-Australian, just signed a 9-year deal at the age of 24. Was a 2-time leading goal kicker. Bailey Smith. Sam Darcy's a father-son that could have gone pick 1. Jamara's a next-gen that did go pick 1. Cody Waitman's a first-round pick. Riley Sanders is a first-round pick. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 Anthony Hudson.
13, by your reckoning, good players on that list.
No, very good players.
Oh, very good.
Well, they've either been All-Australian or they're, young. Then you get to what I think is something that hasn't been talked about with the Western Bulldogs much. And that is the players that they have from other clubs. Nick Caulfield, James Harms, Liam Jones, Alex Keith, Rory Lobb, Oscar Baker, Taylor Duray, Caleb Poulter, the last two of which are on the rookie list.
Yeah.
It's not a star-studded group.
Liam Jones should be in your very good category.
I had a dash next to him because he is.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to separate him out because the reason I separated him is that Jones sort of fell in their lap because they let him go. He ended up dominating at Carlton after he was originally no good as a defender, and then COVID happened and the Blues cracked the shits really when he didn't want to get the jab. He didn't. He sat out a year. He's come back. Carlton didn't want him back. He goes to the Dogs. So he sort of fell in their lap. The other ones, like Caulfield, the Saints didn't want. Harms was pushed out of Melbourne. Keith played a handful of games in Adelaide and was trying to become a cricketer. He was a gun cricketer, by the way. Rory Lobb did his previous clubs really want him? Oscar Baker was surplus to needs at Melbourne. Taylor Duray's been really good. It was I think for what they gave for him, and then Caleb Poulter wasn't wanted by Collingwood.
Mid-season pickup. He was a 38th player on your list.
Since 2016, when they won the flag, they draft English and Lipinski, who leaves.
Yeah.
Next year, they draft Norton and Richards. They trade for Shaki.
Actually, was Richards in your very good list?
No.
I reckon he's
borderline.
Yeah, he's.
But I left him out because I didn't
of
want to look like I was stretching. But if you add Richards, that's 14. If you add Jones, that's 15. We're almost getting to a starting 18, a very good player.
They could do it to Richards at the moment. He's gone all right since he's been in the midfield.
They trade for Shaki, which people forget about.
What did they give up for him?
25 and 41. Guess who 25 ended up being?
Berry?
Noah Bolter.
Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of players who went to Brisbane. Yeah, handy player.
The next year, they draft Bailey Smith and Riley West, Latham Vandermeer. They trade for Duray and Sam Lloyd. The next year, they draft Waitman at pick 15. They trade for Josh Bruce and they trade for Josh Bruce. I wrote Sam Lloyd twice. Then the next year, they draft Jamara at 1. They trade for Mitch Hannon, Steph Martin, and Adam Treloar. Treloar, not again being nasty, sort of fell in their lap.
He was in your good list?
No, he wasn't there.
He's had a pretty good year.
I know, but
Top 5 in their BNF is at 6.
Okay, so we're up to 16. We're nearly at a starting 18.
Is this a setup that you just asked me to add players on the way?
It may have been a setup. The next year they draft Sam Darcy at pick 2. Could have gone pick 1. So since 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 4 of the 5 years, they have top 10 draft picks. And the only one that wasn't a top 10 draft pick was Cody Waitman, who's pick 15, who's probably playing like a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
How many clubs who have just won a flag,
Yeah.
who already have the nucleus of a very good team, which I have enunciated here, then get to draft those guns and then have the gall to turn around and be like, I'm not sure if our list is any good.
But don't they say the list is all right? Like, didn't Amit Bain say last year that we should be top 4?
Yeah, but then Bevo, like, you know,
Yeah.
he chops and changes whether they rate the list or not. This list is ready to go.
Yep.
Now, only two things that I know we death ride coaches in the media a lot, and I'm not trying to do that. He's a premiership coach. He made a grand final only a few years ago. He's clearly an excellent coach, but excellent coach doesn't guarantee your job from year to year. Being a senior coach is like being a Formula One driver. You're right up, the air's pretty thin at the top, but there's always someone else hunting your job.
Yep.
There's only two things that'll save Luke, and they're interrelated to each other. Interrelated? Is that a word? Time and winning. And one comes with the other. If he wins, he gets more time. The only way he gets more time is probably by winning.
If they lose to Richmond this week...
No, see, now, I knew you were going to ask that.
Am I that easy to read?
The point that I will make about the Western Bulldogs is the same point that I made about Carlton last year. People forget that after round 13, when Essendon beat Carlton by 6 goals, Carlton were 4th last.
4th last?
They were 2 points. They were a draw ahead of Hawthorn. And do you know who was 2 points ahead of Carlton? In 5th last? GWS. They both made a prelim. Luke Beveridge deserves for his season to be judged on totality, not right now. But don't anyone turn around and question whether this list is any good. Yeah. And if I hear anyone use that bullshit line of, yeah, but what are their bottom 6 like? Spare me. Oleg Markov played in a premiership last year. It is the job of a football club and its coaching staff to make sure that the bottom 6 players are role players. If they're not, that's a reflection of you, not the quality of your list. Spare me.
I like it. It's a great assessment. They got Richmond this week. Then they got the Giants, Sydney, Collingwood and Brisbane. So they haven't even played the hard teams yet.
Yeah, they've had a good draw. James, who works on Footy Classified as one of the production staff, who's a Mad Bulldogs fan, said that they'll win this week and then lose the next 4. Well, if that happens, it's almost curtains.
Yeah, I just look at it and think, well, Damien Hardwick said last year, he sort of the messaging, you know, what was it? I cooked the sausages 1,000 times. I couldn't find a way to cook them 1,001.
Yep.
Is Bevo that emotional, motivational coach that
I personally
relies
think,
on drawing that out of the players, and is that still resonating? Let's see in the next 5 weeks.
I personally think Luke is a contrarian, and some of the most gifted people in the world have been contrarians, and that are people that say, look, I think you should do it this way. And he said, yeah, but I actually think I might want to do it this way. And it's probably the reason they won in 2016. They won in 2016 playing 15 midfielders, right? But they just played 3 of them at half back and 3 of them at half forward. So you can't, on one hand, you know, praise him for something that he did and that he's being a bit different. And then on the other hand, like your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness. Can they dig themselves out of this? I don't know.
But you shouldn't be losing a Hawthorn under the lid when they've got 6 of their best 10 players out.
Yeah. Can I just make one last point on the Western Bulldogs before we get off this? Question without notice. Apart from Adam Treloar, who, again, fell in their lap because of what happened with Collingwood really late in the trade period, who is the last player that went from another club to the Western Bulldogs and dominated?
It's Liam Jones qualifier.
Yeah, if you want.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but like, not great.
Barry Hall?
Because of the circumstances, I'm saying. I think Liam Jones is almost a great player, but I'm saying the circumstances that they sort of fell in their lap. Who was the last player that was at another football club who said, you know what, I want to go to the Dogs? And this is the problem when you are a small to mid-tier team, and again, been no disrespect by that. North Melbourne have struggled with this for a long time in attracting good players. The Western Bulldogs are a successful team, and they can't attract gun players to their team. And if you can't attract gun players when you've got Jamara, Norton, Bontempelli, when are they going to? They have to be really careful they don't fall in a pit here. And they have to keep moving forward. Scientists say sharks can't swim backwards. It's not physically possible because they have sociopathic tendencies. The dogs need to think like this. They can't go back. They have to go forward. They have to go forward.
I like this. The other one, did you
They
mention?
need to make tough calls.
They got a first rounder last year, Jordan Croft, too. So they've actually...
Well, I stopped. Yeah, that was just at the end of 21. So I stopped the last couple of years. Just because obviously draftees take a couple of...
Yeah.
I didn't mention Riley Sanders.
And if you want one example why the Bulldogs actually think their list is in a position to contend is they traded away their future pick last year for 2024.
What was that for again?
That was to move up for Riley
to get Sanders, yeah.
But then also for points in the later end for Croft. So they got they entered last year with 2 first rounders, traded one away. They got Sanders, moved up for him, and then they traded they brought in Croft and matched the bid. So they essentially got 2 first rounders. Geez, if they finish bottom 6 this year, that's going to be alarm bells, given with Tassie coming in and the need to go and get good young players if they've traded one away and then fallen off the cliff.
Yep. The Bulldogs don't have the luxury that the big clubs have, and that is to fall back on their brand. Unfortunately, they don't have that, so they have to move quickly. Anyway, that's my Bulldogs list analysis.